Center.
Check.
Full right, center.
Rotate. Positive rate.
Correct.
Transition.
Set standard.
Standard set. Passing fly level 061 now.
Checked. Alan, c'est Kalim de l'association marocaine de l'air virtuel. Aujourd'hui, on est sur le 737, le Boeing 737 de PMDG, niveau de vol 360, et on est maintenant en dessous de l'Italie, vers Innsbruck en Autriche. So we've been flying for 2 hours and 41 minutes now from Marrakech. We are planning to land in Innsbruck, which is known of having one of the most challenging airports and approaches in Europe. So I have the plane already configured for the approach. I've been briefing and preparing the aircraft for the last 20 minutes, and but I will go over the charts again with you guys so you guys could understand and just have an idea of what's my plan here. So let's go over to my charts here. So we are here on my all my charts. And I am planning to land on the runway 08 at the Innsbruck Airport. And first, let's look at our star, which would be the Breno 3 Alpha. Correction, the Breno 4 Bravo arrival for runway 08. And just this star gives you an idea of why this airport is so challenging. If you haven't spotted the airport yet, the airport is located right here. This is the runway. It's located on this like tremendously high terrain all over the place. All sectors are over 10,000 feet, which make the approach into this airport really challenging. So as you can see, they really want to make sure that pilots know exactly what are the minimum sector altitudes in different sectors. So for example, on our approach today, we'll be coming through Breno here, and then joining left to go to Bildu, and we won't be below 14,000 at any time. Then get to Elmem, which is our transition into the approach, and for the 4 Bravo arrival, we can't be anywhere below 13,000 feet, flight level 130, because of terrain. Like there is mountains here that they are pretty much 4,000 meters high, which is amazing. So there is a few notes here for the star. We need to have an RNAV 1 approval required, which let's just simulate that we have it. GNSS required, we're good to go, and we are an RNAV aircraft, so we won't be expecting radar vectors to the final approach. Let's go to the approach I chose today. So Innsbruck has different approaches. Some of them are the minimums are quite high, as you can see here. The MDA is 7,100 feet, which is 5,200 feet high from above ground elevation. It's just crazy, and we need a ceiling of 5,000 meters. So last time I checked the weather, there's no clouds, and the visibility it's 8,000 meters, which it's all good for this approach. There is more precise approaches for Innsbruck. For example, there is the let me just show you. There is the RNAV 08, the RNAV Zulu runway 08, and it's an ARC GPS approach. And unfortunately, even if it's way more precise, the MDA takes us all the way down to 900 to 1,000 feet above ground elevation. Our aircraft today is not equipped with the instrument or the technology to do this approach, which is unfortunate. So that's why we are limited to the approach I've chose here, which is pretty much RNAV, just a GPS leg that will take us to this waypoint here, and then all this dashed here is pretty much visual flying all the way to the runway. So there is quite a lot of notes here that would be nice to read. So this procedure is just for cloud breaking only, provided effective external visual reference to the terrain exists and can be maintained from, at, or before reaching the missed approach point. Continue visually along the prescribed track, identical to missed approach track, and then required vertical descent and the required vertical descent profile. Sorry. The runway may not be or remain in sight at all times, but other visual cues surrounding the track and the vicinity of the aerodrome may be used as sufficient external visual reference. Pilots should be well familiar with RNAV procedures in general, but especially with this procedure and terrain along the western part of the Ain Valley. So they're pretty much saying that this approach is just to break the clouds, just to go all the way down to an altitude where we're below the clouds, and just we'll pretty much flying VFR, VMC conditions all the way down to the runway. So at this point here, which is the Whiskey India 814, and at the missed approach rate 7,100 feet, we'll be deciding are we continuing or not. If we don't have reference, or there is suddenly clouds in the valley, which it could perfectly happen because the METAR information just gives information of this little area here. Like what happens here, it might be completely different. So if we don't have visual, we'll just continue on this track, climb to 9,500, and go to this waypoint, which is Romeo Tango Tango, and hold. So we won't have visual of the runway at all times, so we're just gonna be following the valley, follow the river, and just by following the river, we'll know that we are actually going to the runway. And somewhere around between Whiskey India 006 and getting to Whiskey India 005, we'll be seeing the runway. So as you can see, a quite challenging approach. We have MSAs for the LMAP waypoint, for the airport, and for the Romeo Tango Tango. So let's say something happens, we don't have visual, and let's say we lose GPS, we don't have this track anymore. So if we're flying west of the airport, we'll be climbing all the way to 14,500 feet immediately to maintain a safe altitude. And yeah, so this is the approach plate. This is the approach we're gonna be doing today. Very shortly, we're getting to the top of descent, and the airport. There is 2,000 meters of landing. We'll be landing on runway 008, so 2,000 meters of landing distance available. So I'm expecting to vacate via Bravo to the stand, and that's pretty much it. So once we start descending, we'll see you guys again, and I hope that will be fun. It's quite a fun approach to do for sure. Alright, so we have started our descent into Innsbruck, and as you can see, it's quite bumpy now over the Alps, and the fasten seatbelt sign is on, and it should be getting better once we get a bit lower. Descent checklist, please.
Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude is 1900. Fleet recall checked.
So we have joined our star, first waypoint Brno, and we are way above the minimum altitude. And just look at this, what a beautiful view of this part of the Alps mountains. It's just magnificent. And good news for us, it looks pretty visual. Like there is a few clouds in here, but I don't think that will be a factor for our landing. start our turn to the right, shortly after crossing Bildo and joining Elmem, which is our transition for the iron of approach. And here is the turn. Winds are picking up. They're kind of all over the place, which is it's quite expected here in this mountainous terrain. Approach checklist.
Altimeters
1007 set.
1007 set. Approach checklist complete. Level.
Let that descend down to 7,100. Continue.
Check.
Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 15.
5,000. Flaps 50.
Let's set that missed approach altitude. Alright.
Check.
Set VRF. Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start reaches.
Continues.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30, green light.
Landing checklist complete.
This is translate motion 1H Whiskey Quebec is on the 6-land approach for the island of Grand Main Cable Innsbruck.
So as you can see, we're a bit high. And let's see what's gonna happen here.
Checked.
If I'm not
Not
here
stable.
at 500, I'll go around. Yep.
Speed brake up. Reversers normal. Sixty knots. Auto brake disarmed.
Alright,
Check.
backtrack here.
Master caution any ice.
Checked. Alright, so welcome to Innsbruck. It was quite a fun approach to do. It's an approach that requires practice. One note for myself today is that have started reducing the airspeed a bit sooner. I was kind of like on the edge of the speed that we were going. It's just things happens too fast. I thought I had more space, but I didn't. So note for myself for next time is to have everything set up way sooner. But we did make it, um, and um, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And please leave any comments, likes. Come join us in our Discord and or check out our website. And I thank you for coming along on this ride. And مع السلامة.